Good evening. Welcome to the Arts Commission meeting of Thursday, February 6th, and I now call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would like to ask Commissioner Dujarian, if you wouldn't mind, leading us in the pledge.
Gladly. Please stand. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business is roll call. Ms. Fatua?
We will begin first with administration of oath of office. So if we can have the Commissioner Wondercheck, Commissioner Mann, Commissioner Durdarian, please come down for the oath. And our City Clerk, Brenda Green, will do the oath.
Yeah, if you could just line up front and center there. Be perfect. Perfect. All right. If you would please raise your right hand. Do you, Arts Commissioner of the City of Costa Mesa, solemnly affirm that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you'll bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which you're about to enter? I do. Congratulations. Congratulations. If you could stay here, please, to take a group photo, please.
We can now have all commissioners come down for a group photo. Oh, just, but you guys can begin.
Okay, next order of business is roll call. Ms. Fatua?
Let the record reflect all arts commissioners are present except for Commissioner Ford.
So next we're going to open to public comments. Each member of the public will be given a total of 3 minutes to speak. First, we will take comments from those in the council chambers, then those on Zoom. We will only have one time period for each group. There will be no going back and forth. Members of the public in the chambers, now is the time to speak, and please line up at either side of the aisle at either microphone. We will now hear from
Martin, 58-year resident of Costa Mesa. As a follower of the performing and visual arts, I have been a longtime subscriber to multiple organizations, Opera Pacific, Ballet, Theater, South Coast Rep, Orange County Philharmonic Society, and last but not least, 20 years ago, the Pacific Symphony. Commissioner Wondercheck, you brought tears to my eyes at the Symphonic Soul, a celebration of African American artistry. I was there with a friend and we were both moved. I was moved to tears. You brought back memories of my student days at UC Berkeley, singing, "We shall not be moved." The singers of Soul Choir were wonderful. Your organization and your conducting of this concert was wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm looking forward to your presentation at the next City Council meeting. Thank you, Commissioner Wondercheck.
Thank you so much. Wow. Next, please.
I'm Samuel Helm. Some of you know me and some of you don't. I'll try to do this in 3 minutes. I think I had a little pass out. So I have two subjects here. One is a few weeks ago I was here and I mentioned that I was converting some of my poetry to song, to music using AI. And I have done that for about 325 of my poems. Not perfect, but you know, it's there. And there's a QR code there, which makes it easy to access. This is a hobby, not a business of mine. I recommend that the commission take a look at what I have done to see the opportunity it provides our community of poets and musicians to expand their creative activities. The other subject is a suggestion. As you know, the City Council often hosts various cultural presentations at the beginning of their meetings, and these go out to the community on public access. It seems to me that it would be appropriate for the commission here if it did something along that lines, only maybe a more regular, structured order. Doing this would boost public interest, and it's kind of an opportunity lost. My suggestion is that a pre-meeting presentation would be about 30 minutes in length and consists, I'm talking about something more structured than what the council does, and consists of, say, 4 8-minute segments with a moderator down on the floor. I expect that one or more of the local colleges have communication students who would like the opportunity to produce, direct, and moderate these presentations for the experience of doing so for public access TV. I have some suggestions here for the segments. Segment 1, which would be about 8 minutes, would be Artist of the Month, and that guest would bring a few pieces of art for comment with guidance by the moderator. And segment 2 would be 8 minutes as well, and that would be a Poet of the Month, and the guest would present one or more poems with the moderator guiding the presentation. And segment 3 would be a musician or musicians of the month, and the guests would present, which would be the musicians, a music piece, a vocal or instrumental, with a moderator also guiding that. And segment 4 would be whatever other variety of artists and craftspeople we have in the community, which would be the specialist artists of the month, featuring one of the miscellaneous artists with a moderator guiding that. And that would provide 3 individual students with experience that would be probably very valuable to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will take these into consideration, and we appreciate you bringing this forward. And we also thank you, Ms. Martin, for speaking as well. I believe at this time we want to check online or on Zoom, apparently, right?
There are currently no public Zoom members.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. If you, commissioners, do we have any comments of any sort? Yes, Miss Commissioner Lucia. Ochoa, oh my God. Commissioner Ochoa.
Thank you, Commissioner Wondercheck. I missed everyone during the recess. It seemed rather long, but I'm glad to see familiar faces here in the dais. It's wonderful to be back and to continue our important work here. Over the past few weeks, I've been bopping around town and engaged in so many different art events, and a few highlights. The Senior Center, the textile artist Mariana Baker's work is on exhibit through April. It's exciting to see an artist featured from Art Venture find exhibition opportunities here in our city, and it's really just strengthens those connections that we have in our programs. Across the street, OCC at the Doyle Arts Pavilion, I attended the opening last Saturday of an exhibition titled What's My Thesis? It's a fun exhibition featuring a variety of artworks from guests from an art podcast. Many of these artists that participated in the exhibition are OCC alumni, so it celebrates local talent. And lastly, just to echo Ms. Martin's comments, Commissioner Wonderchuk's Symphonic Soul was completely sold out, and rightfully so. Everyone was totally moved and enlightened by the experience. The woman sitting next to me reached over and grabbed my hand during the Sam Cooke song, and I reached right back. It brought everyone together that evening, and what a beautiful way to usher in Black History Month. So brava.
Any other commissioners? Thank you so much. Commissioner Ashendorf.
Thank you, Commissioner Wonderchuk. Just a couple of things. First of all, as part of the City of the Arts, our community is very special. Its values, their passion, and the actions that they put forward for the arts. And I would just like to take one moment to acknowledge our former Vice Chair and Commissioner Heidi Zuckerman. She will be sorely missed on the commission, but we were very fortunate to have her talents and her gifts and her leadership for the last 2 years. And I know with our city and staff, that relationship with ACMA will continue. And if you haven't seen it, Ms. Zuckerman has a book out, and it's titled The Importance of Art, and she also has a blog, and it's very inspirational, and I encourage you to take a look at it, and she's very much a part of our history here in Costa Mesa. Secondly, I think you might have missed one thing, the Costa Mesa High School event for Backhouse. Did you say that?
No.
Okay, it was wonderful. It was one of our funded grants. And Backhouse brought down the house at Costa Mesa High School. Unfortunately for the entire community, it's at 9:30 in the morning, but the students benefited greatly by having them come and go through music. It was the Kronos Quartet that they played, one of my favorites, and it was just a delightful, delightful thing, and to see where our money that we invest into the community is going. Thirdly, on March 9th at the Norma Herzog Center, there will be a free event that's hosted by the Historical Society, and one of our local artists from Santa Ana, Alicia Rojas, artist, author, and muralist, who, if you're aware of the beautiful mural, green colors down Baker, that's hers. She will be speaking for free at the Norma Herzog. So it's a wonderful opportunity to come in and meet Ms. Rojas. And finally, for staff, I know we were sent information on 5 new bike racks, and I found 3 of them. I'm directionally challenged. I applaud the Butterfly. If you have not seen the Butterfly bike rack and the big new bench out there by the garden, it's gorgeous. But if maybe you could come back to us with the images of where some of those art in public places are in the bike racks, that would be really nice for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners at this time?
I just wanted to take a moment to commend Ms. Garner and the rest of the staff here regarding the utility box process. I had the pleasure of serving on the panel along with Commissioner Mann and a local artist to review an amazing amount of the utility box submissions that we received. And it's been wonderful to see in the past 2 years on the Arts Commission how many more submissions we've received from across the city and even throughout Orange County. So I think you all have done a really great job on that program.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucia. Any other commissioner? Oh, to Darian.
Thank you, Chair Wonderchak. I just wanted to take a moment to publicly thank Councilman Pettis for his reappointment to this body. I'm glad to be joining you all again. Good to see returning faces and consistent faces. And of course, looking forward to meeting our new commissioner. I also just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Helm for, I think, a very good suggestion and a very interesting one that I'd personally like to see in some form or another, having some sort of performance or piece of art being shared at the beginning, at the very least, of these commission meetings. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Next order of business is the consent calendar. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the Arts Commission, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar for discussion. We have one item under the consent calendar, approval of the minutes from November 7th from the Arts Commission meeting. Are there any comments from the commission or a commissioner who would like to entertain a motion? Yes, Senator, Commissioner Ochoa. Wow, Commissioner Ochoa.
Thank you, Chair Wonderchuk. On page 1, I noticed a typo for Ronald Chi, who spoke during public comments, and Commissioner Mann's comments. The spelling of his last name is C-H-E-E, not C-H-I. Thank you.
Okay. Any other commissioners? Okay, would anyone like to entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Is there a second? Commissioner Ochoa? Yes, okay. All right, okay, call for a question. I was told to say call for a question. Oh, do we all vote?
Yes, you may vote on your dais. Motion carries 6-0 to approve the November 7th Arts Commission meeting with corrections to Ronald Chi's last name.
Excellent. Next order of business is the election of chair and vice chair. We will first begin with chair election. Are there any nominees for the chair?
Right. So, yeah, so that is obviously, first of all, congratulations to all the commissioners for being appointed and being part of the Arts Commission. So this is just a procedural protocol that we have to do, and we have to select a chair and vice chair. And typically, the way it works would be somebody would make a motion, so to speak, and select or nominate a person, and then it needs to be seconded, and then it needs to be voted on by the commission. So,
may I nominate Alyssa Ochoa as our the chair. Thank you.
I'll second that.
So we vote, right? Brian?
So
yes. Well, is there a vote?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything coming up on my screen, so.
Made the motion. There we go. There we go.
So it's a second by Mann. Okay.
There.
Were there any other individuals that wanted to vote for that position or a different one? Okay. So we are voting for Commissioner Ochoa as the chair. Let's vote.
There we go.
motion carries 6-0 to appoint Commissioner Ochoa as chair.
Excellent, and congratulations. Yay. Okay, let's have any nominees. If anyone would like to nominate someone for the election of vice chair.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Commissioner Fisher Derderian.
I second that. Okay, so let's Any other votes for this? Okay, all right, so let's vote.
Motion carries 6-0 to appoint Commissioner Derderian as vice chair.
Yay. Congratulations. Okay, are there any I think at this time, are there any members of the public who would wish to speak on this item? No. Okay, great. Public comments are now closed, and we've already done our motion, right? We do that officially, or let's be real official?
Yeah, so at this point in time, I think we can go ahead and rotate positions. Or do you want to?
We typically do it at the next meeting, just
Okay,
to
okay.
cycle everyone out. So this is the last for.
Right, okay, then this will be the last meet, yeah, okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Okay, so thank you, and very excited to have our new commissioner, our chair, and our vice chair. So the next order of business is a review and approve of the new poet laureate and scope of work.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm so excited and thrilled to announce Danielle Hansen as the poet laureate chosen by our review panel, which was Commissioner Derderian, Kelly Ann Brown from the PACS Commission, the Parks and Community Services Commission, and then Jan Osborne from Chapman University. We are here this evening to approve her ascension to the lofty role of Costa Mesa's first ever poet laureate, and to review her proposed scope of work for the next 1 to 2 years. And I only say that, it's a 2-year program, but we may do an agreement per year. It's the only reason I say it that way. But before we go through and discuss the scope of work, I'm going to give the floor to Danielle to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about her background in poetry. Thank you.
Hello, am I close enough to the mic? Yeah. All right, hi, I'm Danielle Hansen. I describe myself as a working poet. For me, that means that not only do I write, I believe very much in the power of art and poetry in the world to raise empathy, to connect people, to make people feel heard, to promote change, and to expose any wrongs in our world and society. So I do write, but as part of that, it's also getting the work out into the world. So I spend also a lot of time submitting my work and getting rejected and finding the right venues for it, all the work that artists and writers do. Ed Hirsch, the poet Ed Hirsch, says that the work of the poem happens in between the writer and the reader, that the poem is what kind of lives in that shared space between them. So getting that work to that reader is making the change that art can do in the world. I sit on the other side of that desk. I also edit. I volunteer at Doubleback Books, and I'm a guest editor for Cod Hill Poetry Press, working with poets in order to get their work tightened up and packaged and the most impactful presentation that we can put in front of those readers to make the largest impact for their work. I volunteer with Sundress Publications one step further in the process as their marketing director. We put out about 10 books a year, mainly poetry, and a lot of debut writers. So I work with a lot of writers whose first book is coming out into the world and talking to them about how to authentically get that work to the reader in a way that feels right for them, that works for them and what their message is and who they see their audience as. I also teach poetry at UC Irvine. Probably about 75% of my students, I would guess, are STEM majors, a lot of pre-med. And between that and work I've done in the past collaborating with visual artists and performing artists, I find that everyone loves poetry. We just have to get it out to them. Which brings me to why I'm excited to be Poet Laureate, and especially of Costa Mesa, the city of the arts. Amanda Gorman, if you remember her, the inaugural poet that read at Obama's inauguration, she has this wonderful YouTube video where she talks about how poetry is always political, no matter its subject, because poetry deals with people. And so to partner with a government to be able to get poetry into public spaces and where people are gathered and where we come together as a society, I believe is a very powerful way of magnifying the work that poetry is doing in the world. So I'm very excited about the position. I know we're going to go over the scope of work, but there's lots of exciting things to get poetry where people are already. And I would feel it would be, after saying that, disingenuous not to read a poem in this public space. Don't worry, I write short ones. Mother Magnolia. The magnolia cupped her hands around the small face of the wind. He continued to scream, blue-faced. He could not calm himself out of existence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Danielle. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Chair Wondercheck, and thank you, Danielle Hansen, for being here tonight. We're really excited to start this program out. And so the next step for us tonight is to review the scope of work. If anyone has any questions or comments about that for myself or Danielle, we can go through that. And yeah, that'll be our next steps for Poet Laureate. Thank you.
Commissioner Ashendorf.
Yes. Welcome, Danielle. We're really glad to have you here. This has been over a year in the making to the month, I think, and the day. So it's a really a big day to celebrate, and so we welcome you here. I do have one question, something of clarification that I don't know if I didn't see it, Lorette, somewhere, but is there a stated time or period when our poet laureate will come back to us and report on what she has done over, will it be in 6 months, or in what kind of period of time can we expect that?
Thank you, Commissioner Ashendorf. I didn't put anything in the scope of work about that, but that's, I just kind of kept it pretty broad, but we can discuss that tonight if you'd like, if there's some suggestions about when you all think a good kind of stopping point to kind of give a report would be.
Well, that's something I'd like to see. I know we'll get updates from you regularly, and we'll be seeing you around town and at different venues, but I think it would be nice for the entire community to have you at least come back perhaps in 6 months to let us know how it's going and where do you see the next 6 months go, something like that.
So do you think if we just put something like a check-in with the Arts Commissions every 6 months over the 2-year period? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, Laurette. Welcome, Daniel. We're really excited to welcome you and look forward to hearing more of your work. Laurette, so my question is item 5 on page 2, the non-exclusive license. And I'm wondering if there's, you mentioned maybe a time limitation instead of a perpetual license, maybe defining a kind of timeline just to protect both the city and the artist. And also maybe there should be an attribution clause, an agreement that would ensure that the artist is credited whenever their work is displayed by the city. Just reinforces like the recognition of the writer.
Thank you, Commissioner Ochoa. That's absolutely, I can bring that to our legal team to kind of look over. Yeah, because it doesn't have a, I think a time frame would be useful for like the 2-year period. And we can kind of discuss that with them and see what they come back with. Yeah.
Any other comments, commissioners? Okay, so at this point, do we take these notes and then come back with the final? Is that what you would do?
Yes, correct.
Okay,
So I'll take
excellent.
these recommendations back and we can bring this back at the next meeting to look at. We were thinking that this position, the Poet Laureate, would start in April, so we have a little bit of time with that. So yes, absolutely.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so the next order of business is approval of the utility box art program applications. So let's pull those up. Did I
Chair
skip
Check,
something?
We do want to open it up for public comment for review and approve the new poet laureate.
Thank
So-
you. Are there any public comments at this time?
And so the next thing we'll have to do is at least approve our poet laureate, and we can bring the scope of work at a later time.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve our wonderful poet laureate?
I'd move to welcome and accept Danielle as our inaugural poet laureate.
Inaugural, I like that. Any
I would
second?
like to second her motion and welcome, and we're really glad you're here.
We're very
Looking
glad
forward
you're,
to working with you.
okay. So let's vote.
Motion carries 6-0 to approve Danielle as our poet laureate. Congratulations.
Welcome. Okay, so our next order of business is the approval of the utility box art program applications. I believe we're going to look at those at this point in time.
Thank you, Chair Wondercheck. Yeah, I'll do a brief introduction, and then we can look through these and review and approve. So just a little bit about this program this year. This year we had 41 applications. In comparison to last year, I think we had 20. So we had a big increase this year, which was great. And we had, so some of the artists, you could submit up to 2 artworks. And so we had over 60 new design proposals for 12 boxes. So it was a chore to kind of pick those out. So we're presenting 12 designs today to be applied to boxes with the vinyl wraps the next 6 months. This year we had a review panel, which was new. So we had Commissioner Lucia, we had Commissioner Mann, and then we had Benito Nunez, who is an Art Venture Award winner. So it was really great to have that artist perspective too. So tonight we can move forward with any discussion related to these choices that you all have in your packet, and then we can vote to approve them.
Any current comments from commissioners?
I'll jump in real quick if that's okay. I just wanted to mention a couple really caught my eye. I thought number 2 by Harlow Brazil, if I have that correctly, was very sweet. It was nice to see a high school student submitting this, and it was a thoughtful kind of reflection on something that I thought was fun. And number 3 as well, by Karen Gallo, if I have that correct as well, I thought was a fantastic piece, and just so pleased to see. One question just on the way the format of the document is, number 8, Lisa Corinne Kelson, if I have that correct. The image that is shown for her artwork, Crowned with Glory, condenses the piece vertically, squishes it, and looking at the website, I just checked it, it wasn't that condensed. So I just wonder, is that reflective of this document itself, or would that be included in some sense on the actual utility box?
Good question. So we actually just kind of put these in this document, and it kind of ended up this way.
Yeah.
But they have different images that we'll put in a Google Drive for our vendors to kind of, and they're really good about kind of making sure the quality's there to kind of stretch the images appropriately for the boxes.
Great.
So yes, thank you.
Perfect. I figured as much. I just wanted to be sure because I saw that and I said it'd be better just to cut it off at the bottom and get the good quality. You know, the one I did want to raise and just get everyone's thoughts on is number 1 by the artist Craig Barker. I found it somewhat inappropriate, I think, for the city streets. Just the angle, especially of that main picture, felt as if I were trying to perhaps peek up a skirt, and that's not the thing I think we want to have on the street side, as well as all the forms of the female were objectifying in some sense. I found I can understand and appreciate the appreciation of the female form. But this doesn't seem to quite, I think, and capture what we want to see on the streets of our city. But of course, I'm open to discussion on this. But I just wanted to raise that and say this struck me as somewhat inappropriate to put forth.
Can I comment?
Yes, Commissioner.
Is it not true that we did have Craig Barker on a utility box previously? And if I recall, it was controversial, the initial go-around, is that correct?
I recall hearing things. He was on a box. So there's a box that he likes to apply to be on every year at like the
Yeah.
same location.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, the past two designs, I think, they've been removed by Public Works, not for anything to do with the
Okay.
image, but because they were fixing the utility box. So his images are being removed prematurely because of, something out of our control, which is just,
Okay.
they have to fix the cases. So I think he keeps trying to bring it back to the same box. And the other thing I will say about that is that we had to assign it to a different box
Yes.
anyway, because they are going to be repairing that box again. They're having some things with it, so I didn't recommend that we put it on that box this year either.
That location was Adams?
I can't.
Verde.
Thank you.
Verde.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so for this year, we assigned it to Victoria Street in Pomona. And, we do let artists know that the city will select the final locations, but I know that he usually likes to pick that location, but we weren't able to do that just for, various unforeseen circumstances, so.
Thank you.
May I make a comment, Chair?
Sure, yes.
I also had kind of similar concerns and I think for me, the title, the design, Mesa Girls Are the Cutest in the Land, it has a lighthearted and fun tone. That said, there's so many incredible Mesa girls here who embody multitudes, strength, resilience, intelligence. They're multidimensional and totally rad. So perhaps there could be a different title that reflects that spirit.
Thank you. Commissioner Mann?
Hi. So I was very fond of his work. Partially, and at first, I know the other work that he did with the legs cut off, I think that's his thing. I was a little bit like, oh. But it's weird, it grows on you, and this area is such a perfect place for this actual box. I live near this area, and it just seems to embody the whole spirit of a lot of the girls that live there, the kind of punk but cool and cute Mesa girls from around there, and beachy, and I don't know, I really think that I didn't think it was objectifying for women. I thought it was actually just, really kind of fun-loving, and like you said, the cutest in the land. And I really love the Doc Martens. I just think they speak volumes about the era and the time and just this picture itself. But that's just my,
Okay, any other commissioners? Okay, I did have a question. I know that we have 12 here, and we're told that there are 12 boxes, but that doesn't mean we have to select all 12, correct?
So we have funding to wrap 12.
Okay.
So we would like to wrap 12 if we can. I do have some alternates if you'd like me to pull those up on the screen too, if you want to look at, to see what your options are, if there's concern over this box. But I'll let you all discuss that. But if you'd like to see those, do you want me to pull those up on the screen?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, because we
That
had
would be good.
3 that were also in the running from the review panel that were also well-liked, but we had to just pick 12. So let me pull those up for you.
I would also like to say that you did an excellent job selecting these. They're super dynamic and fun and colorful and visible from the street. I also enjoyed the youth artist featured on slide 2. It's great to see our public high school students being featured on these utility boxes. It's a great opportunity. And number 9, Kate Snow, is just super dynamic. So thank you.
Would you like me to scroll through this?
Yes,
There's 3
please.
alternates. So this is the first. This is Evan Chafee, I believe. And then we've got Kimberly Duran. And then we have Kingsley Aarons. So those are the 3 alternates.
Are you able to zoom in at all?
So are we allowed to give a little background as to how we came about with these picks? Okay, so when we got together to make the choices, there were, as they said, like 41, and 46. It was so hard because there's so many really great ones, and I mean, whittling it down to what we had was just crazy. But we did find ourselves making little deals, like how here you can be like, oh, like the one you have on your dais right now, right? Like Kingsley Aaron's, you'd be like, oh, I might be willing to give up, this leg one for that one, kind of a thing. And we came about having these picks in a way that we were all happy with the choices. So my personal opinion is I do love the Kingsley Aaron one. I would be willing to swap it out. If everybody is not wanting to keep the number one in, if that's an issue.
Sure. If I could chime in as well. Real quickly, we can always work with the artist too. We've done that in the past. We go back and work with them. As he is a returning artist, if that's an option you want to entertain. Instead of exchanging it out, we can work with the artist directly. But he does tend to lean towards the legs, have we experienced in the past. We did, as Commissioner Ashendorf stated, there were multiple concerns about his box presented from the public. So indeed, that is accurate. So that's something that possibly to consider too. Thank you.
I would like to at least suggest that we do look at selecting a different piece. I mean, initially, what Commissioner Ochoa stated and Jadarian, I felt the exact same way. Just initially seeing it, I was like, oh, okay. And beautiful artwork, but I felt it was objectifying a bit. So that's just my suggestion, but it's up to us as the commission if we would like to select a different piece at this time. And then maybe a conversation happen with this individual about submitting a different piece next time around. But that's just a suggestion I would make. Yes, Commissioner Jadarian.
Yes, I just want to say too, I don't think the other piece is not without its artistic and aesthetic merits. It's very well done, very, I think, attractively designed. I just think for the question of public taste and having it on the streets, I don't know if I would love seeing that as I drive near there all the time. And I'm not sure if other people would have that same initial reaction. Perhaps, I do think the rest of the 11 are great and will do a great job on the streets. I would love to approve the rest. And maybe what we can do is return to the artist and ask for something else, whatever that might look like, and consider that along with one or two other pieces at our next meeting, as we've seen with these other selections, just to give that artist another opportunity. That's my thought.
Thank you. Any other commissioners?
So just to clarify, are we asking for a different piece, or are we asking him to alter the piece and maybe add pants, or just so we're clear to him, do we like the piece but want those concerns addressed, or do we want an entirely new piece from him? Because then we're kind of evaluating it as a new artwork.
Yeah. No,
Just be clear.
Well, I really hate to tell an artist what to do.
Right.
And I look at those three pieces. My perspective is, because I'm the oldest one on the dais, I see myself as in those two girls. That's what I was doing with the record player years and years ago. I mean, that appealed to me. I could never be a dancer, so that's not going to happen, or an acrobat. But I know from the past there were questions on the piece in the center, and I would not want to have to go through that again. But I love his work. I appreciate what he's doing, and he's just a little bit out there for public, you know.
True. Also, I believe each artist was allowed to put in 2 sets of work.
Is
So
that right?
I don't know if there was another piece of art that he had also put in.
I do not think so, but I'd have
Okay.
to look at it. I think it was just I can look at it now, but I think it was just the one,
Yeah.
but I'll take a look.
I mean, I personally, I really love his work, but I would also like to, the three that we put, I would love to give them also a chance because it's something that, yes.
So then the question is, what are we stating to this particular artist?
Might I just offer, perhaps we could provide the feedback that we have here and allow him to change it, resubmit, do whatever he would like. Because I do think he deserves to be reconsidered. It's obviously he's a great artist. It's just the question of what's appropriate to put on the box. And if he wants to change out one of those images, because it looks like there's various kind of paintings put together, he could do that. If he wants to just edit one, he can do that, whatever he think appropriate from his point of view as the artist. Just because I think we don't want to say, well, you need to change it this way, and if you put on pants here, then it'll be, that whole thing is not what we want to get into. We just want to provide him that feedback and then allow him to respond in turn. And then we can consider that perhaps with 2 or 3 other submissions and have a proper discussion next time, if that's agreeable.
Okay,
I think that sounds great.
excellent.
That's good.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I can just chime in real quick. So you guys can still approve the other art pieces or utility box art pieces. In the motion, just indicate that, artist, correct, Barker?
Submission 1.
Yeah, submission 1 would be excluded and would be reviewed at the next commission meeting.
Okay. So we're not voting on the other 3. We're just going to move forward with these 11. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
In the motion, just state that, submission 1 would be reviewed at the next commission meeting along with some additional other art pieces.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we will move forward.
Excuse me, Chair? Can we open up for public comment, please?
Yes,
Thank you so
public
much.
comment. Are there any public comments at this time?
There are no members on Zoom, Chair.
Excellent, okay. So at this time, we would like to make a motion to approve the 11 submissions. That would be numbers 2 through 12. And with submission number 1, we are going to we're going to contact that particular artist and speak of that at the next meeting, right? Okay. So we'll speak about that one at the next meeting. So right now, if you wouldn't mind, let's have someone make a motion to move for approval of the 11 pieces of artwork. Okay. Commissioner Ochoa and Ashendorf, first and seconded. So let's vote.
And Madam Chair, can I speak to the motion
Yes,
just again?
please.
First of all, thank you to the commissioners who served on this, because we got this, and then I started going down rabbit holes, reading about each of the artists, and they're so different. I mean, they're really diverse. And staff is doing a great job of getting the word out. I mean, we have elevated this process so highly, so I congratulate you for that. And, some of them, these artists are selling merchandise, and then there's a dog mom. I mean, and her art does not reflect dog. She threw me for a loop there. And Bud Herrera, I mean, here's this gentleman, we're doing murals, and he's working with the police department. I mean, we've got some great artists here, so I am so excited to move forward with these, and I hope everyone else will feel that energy. Thank you.
We definitely feel that energy. This is good. Okay. So are we able to vote? Because I'm clicking yes.
Yes.
I cannot. It's not going through.
You may vote on your dais. Motion carries 6-0 to approve utility box art applications numbers 2 through 12, and for box number 1 to work with the artist.
Okay.
And, I'm sorry,
Yes, Commissioner Mann.
was it to work with the artist, but then also to bring back that work with the other ones that were the alternates?
Yes, so you, yeah.
No, I think this is just we'll talk to the artist and bring back a different design next month for this, but I don't think this concerns the alternates at this point. You're just voting on the 11, and then with the thought to bring number 1 back to March's meeting for approval.
Okay, and March's meeting for approval, if we see that are we going to go back to the alternates then at that
If
time?
you, let's say we bring it back in
Yeah.
March and you all decide that's not what you're looking for, then absolutely we can bring those alternates back and then you could vote on the alternates.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question. Excellent. Okay, the next order of business is our monthly reports from Arts and Culture, and that would be from Ms. Laurette Gardner. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Wondercheck. So lovely to be here after a few months. So happy to see all of you. I just wanted to say a quick thing about Art Venture. I forgot to put this on the report because I was working on it after I made the report. But after speaking to a few people, a couple commissioners, we've decided to create a youth art application for Art Venture that'll be separate from the adult, and we'll do a different application period for them as well. So we'll do what I'm thinking is like a March through May. We'll keep it open for a couple months, and it'll be specifically for youth artists. And then we'll open the adult one later, like we usually do, which I think is like June to July. But just to let you all know, I'll be working on that now, and so we'll start posting and advertising for the Youth Art for Art Venture starting in March. I think I was thinking like the first Monday in March. So I'll let you all know once that happens.
Is there a way to get the schools in Newport Mesa to know about this? Because I know that I tried to get a couple of schools, but it just didn't seem to.
So I always correspond with Tamara Fairbanks, who's our TOSA, and then we also post on Peach Jar, which is free, goes to all the schools, and if it's a free event, which it is, and it's free to apply, then they'll post it for us digitally, and we do it in English and Spanish, and so yeah, we will get it to them for sure. All right, so next item, the art crawl. We are planning our next art crawl for 2025. So I'm still in very early stages, but we are thinking that it'll probably happen in May, and we're thinking of a music theme. So in the past, we did functional art, and we've done visual arts, and we've done theater arts. So I thought it would be fun to concentrate on music in Costa Mesa. So plans are still tentative, but I'm exploring potential stops right now. I have plans for the event to visit a Costa Mesa recording studio, perhaps, maybe a live music venue I'm looking at, but I won't say more than that. And then we would end with a free performance at a Segerstrom or something like that, like we usually do. We usually end with like a fun experience or a ticketed event for people. That's a fun gift, at the end. So that's Art Crawl, but I'll definitely bring back more information as we kind of plan it out in the next couple months. Arts grants. So we currently have the arts grant application is open until March, and we have 7 applications right now, and I've been talking to a few organizations, so I'm really hoping to see about 10 applications this year, which is great. And also as a reminder, we have $20,000 to award this year, which is a big bump from last year. And then in early March, after the deadline, I will organize a review panel as we've done in the past, and we'll bring back the funding plan for the arts grants to the Arts Commission at our April meeting is what I'm projecting. So if anyone is interested in being on the grant panel, please email me and let me know. I always take 1 or 2 commissioners and then either an arts administrator or an artist to kind of review them all and then rank them, and then we kind of discuss like what funding they'll all receive. So we'll bring that back in April. The exhibition spaces. So as mentioned previously this evening, we have the artwork of Mariana Baker up at the 2nd floor of the Senior Center, and her artwork's here on this PowerPoint. And we have artwork from Kelly Marchbank's art class at Costa Mesa High School at the City Hall lobby. And then we also have a new youth art wall sign that was created by a local artist, Gabrielle McLean. And we have a few maintenance updates to the wall itself with new paint and some drywall. So we're really excited to see that freshen up a little bit, the youth art wall. And next, we have free park performances. So currently, kind of similar to Art Crawl, we're just kind of in early planning stages for these. We're working on programming for the upcoming year. We have plans to add arts and culture experiences to city and parks and community services community events that are already existing. So we'd like to just kind of plug in some of those performances to some of the work we're already doing. And once I have a more solid schedule, I'll be happy to bring that back and let you all know. So we're trying to plan out kind of more in advance so we can maybe have a schedule for the next year for everyone. And then free at Segerstrom Center campus. For this program, we've already distributed tickets for more than half of our scheduled shows for this fiscal year. So we have a couple of shows per month until June, and then we'll work with all the arts providers at the Segerstrom Center for the Arts to start again with new performances in early fall of 2025. The Orange County Museum of Art has also been providing free arts workshops for Costa Mesans as part of this program. I will also be presenting a final report to the Arts Commission in August about all these with some data with how many people served, how many Costa Mesa addresses. And so far the program has been well received by the community. And I just wanted to share a little quote from ACMA's Director of Learning and Engagement. Her name is Billy Ray Vinson. For those who haven't met her yet, she's great. She's a new addition to ACMA. She sent me a quote from a participant at ACMA for an arts workshop. So I just wanted to share that real quick. A patron said, "I enjoyed the meditative quality of it, excellent materials, and the very friendly, knowledgeable, and encouraging staff. My son and I felt inspired to do more art together." And so I thought that was really great. And I worked in arts education for many years, so I love hearing those things. And lastly, I wanted to say a few words to acknowledge February's Black History Month. Our city council does such a great job of acknowledging that, but I'd love to kind of get in the habit of doing some kind of verbal acknowledgement every month for all these amazing celebrations we have for arts and culture. And I just wanted to say a little bit about the history and some of my favorite artists. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Although the movement to honor Black Americans and their contributions to this country began in 1915. This year's theme is African Americans and labor and focuses on the ways that work and working of all kinds, free and unfree, skilled and unskilled, vocational and voluntary intersect with the collective experiences of Black people. And I just wanted to say, mention a couple of my favorite Black visual artists. Barclay L. Hendricks is a painter of amazing portraits. He was born in 1945. Kara Walker is a visual artist born in 1969. She does all kinds of different things, silhouettes, if you've seen some of her work. Faith Ringgold, a visual artist, and she's really well known for her narrative quilts. And she was born in 1930 and just passed this last year, I believe. And then Edmonia Lewis is a sculptor of, she does really beautiful neoclassical sculptures, and she was born in 1844. And Horace Pippin, who is a self-taught painter, was born in 1888, and so those are some of my favorites. I just wanted to mention those in honor of Black History Month. And there's so many more. So I just wanted to say thank you all for listening to my report, and that wraps up my February Arts Specialist report. Thank you.
Thank you for that thorough report, and it's beautiful to see the growth that's been happening within this Arts Commission and the arts in general in Costa Mesa just over the past few years. So thank you so much. It was wonderful. Are there any questions from the commission at this time? Commissioner Ashendorf?
I forgot to say in my report that the spotlight is on. You know, this is my favorite time of the year when the spotlight comes on, and they featured Location 1980, which is a gallery that's on Placentia, which was really nice to see that plugged in there. And speaking of plugging in, thank you for that term tonight, Lorette. I hope that our poet laureate will be plugged in to some of the community events that you have, of which you have spoken. And just so you know, Danielle, I have had a lot of inquiries from city council members who say, who is it? When do we find out who this person is? So it's going to be official. So they're looking forward to welcoming you in the city.
If I may add, speaking of plugging Danielle in, I'm enthused that there's going to be an art crawl again in May. I think that's such wonderful programming we provide the community. Given that it's about music, I think that might be a nice venue for you to be able to speak and meet the community members who attend and talk about the importance of poetry, especially as it relates to music. So I think that'd be a really awesome venue if you're going to start your term in April. It would be a great community event for you to participate in.
Thank you, Commissioner Lucia. Any other commissioners? Yes. Mr. Bryan.
Not, Mr. Bryan, not quite a commissioner, but I would like to just kind of say a few words. First of all, thank you and congratulations to our first meeting of 2025. Very pleased with the progress that we're making. Also want to congratulate Danielle Hansen to being our poet laureate, and we'll definitely present you or bring you to the council and present you there as well. I would just like to say maybe afterwards we can all get together and take a picture with her. That would be a really nice thing to do. And then lastly, I just want to highlight not really arts related, but really more internally related to what we're doing in within the department. So last Saturday we had an all-staff training, an all-day training over at the senior center, and it was. It just went really, really well. So basically what we did, we had an early morning breakfast. We kicked things off at 8:30, started at 9, and had different presenters. Lorianne, our city manager, was there, and she welcomed everybody. In addition to Carol, our finance director, she was there as well, and kind of gave an overview of Finance 101. And and then that was followed up by myself and Monique, who is our recreation manager, and provided an overview of Governance 101 and kind of how our structure operates. And then after that, we also focused on a book that we kind of studied for the last few months, and it's called The Ideal Team Player. And it focuses on 3 key principles of being hungry, smart, and I drew a blank on the last one. Hungry, smart, and
Humble.
Humble. Thank you. So we've kind of studied this book, and it's really what we're adopting as our cultural principles in how we interact with the public, amongst ourselves, and just how we operate. So it's really a cultural shift that we're really introducing within the department. And then in the afternoon, we had lunch, and then we had different breakout sessions, really focusing on customer service. We also revised our staff manual. And so it was just really great to see those different components really kind of aligned, and just the enthusiasm that the staff brought to the table was great, really focused. And that included all the staff. So we have 200 staff members, team members, and we all met last Saturday and just did an all-day training. It was just fantastic. So yeah, so I just want to share that and just update the commission on what we're kind of doing internally. But yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any additional comments from commissioners or staff?
I do have one, if that's okay. I would like to
Please.
thank you for your last year in serving as chair. You did a wonderful job. We're very grateful for you, how engaged and dedicated you are to this commission, and we're glad you're still here to guide us. And we look forward to our new chair and vice chair. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any public comments at this time? I'm sorry, Commissioner Jadarian.
It's not a problem. I just wanted to take a minute. I meant to say it earlier, but to gush, and you'll have to forgive me, Danielle, just how wonderful we thought Danielle was speaking from the jury panel for the Poet Laureate program as the Arts Commissioner that was sitting on it. We really tried to consider everyone that sent in an application and seriously look at their applications and their poems that they had submitted. And I think first and foremost, one of the things that we looked for was, of course, beauty, artistic and aesthetic excellence, that the skill and the craft was there. And then from there, we looked for things like, the presence and presentation of the various applicants and how they both presented their poems, but also how they presented themselves. And if they were people that we thought we could partner with and really help, develop in collaboration the role of this laureate program, as it is our first artist laureate, and myself and the other members of the jury panel just really found Danielle's work to be just absolutely incredible and really stood out across all the applicants. And I think, you got a little bit of that tonight with her poem that she read, but the sense that you can pick out the most even seemingly inane things. We watched a video where she picked up gummy worms and just started going on about all these ideas of how you could use this gummy worm to, I think, be a string for a sticky sweater or to catch gummy fish and all these sorts of things. And I think that quality is what you look for in an excellent artist and someone who really can just take those very simple details of everyday life and concrete things in everyday life and elevate it to an object of aesthetic interest and something that's worth considering for its own sake. And then, of course, you know, as you saw tonight, I think Danielle presents very well. She has a real presentation and presence in that way, but also as an educator, and I think will be a wonderful contribution to our community and to what we're doing here at the city level. So I just want to say how excited I am to have Danielle and welcome her aboard this team and this effort to bring beauty and art to Costa Mesa. So thank you.
Are there any comments from our viewers online at this time? No. Okay. So I will now adjourn this meeting and to our next regularly scheduled meeting, which will take place on March 6th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Meeting adjourned.